In the summer of Tovshin Chof Hei, which is 1965, Reb Zalman Gurevitz from Montreal went to visit Russia. Reb Zalman Gurevitz was the president or the head of the board of the Besrivke in Montreal. He was originally from Russia, but he left Russia many years before most of the Lubavitchers left Russia. But he spoke Russian, and he managed to be able to visit Russia, to get a visa, and he went to visit Russia. And this is in 1965. When he was there, since he was able to speak Russian, he was able to see more what the situation is, and he saw the hardships that the Yidden are going through. He managed underground to visit the Lubavitcher there, and he managed to see and understand the hardships and the tzoras that they have. He also managed to go to Lubavitch, even those people who got visas and permission to visit Russia, they only allowed them certain cities. Certainly not the little towns. But he managed somehow to visit Lubavitch. He convinced them that he has a Zayde that's buried there or something like that, and he went to visit Lubavitch. He also went to visit Rostov, which I think was one of those cities they wouldn't let, and he visited the Tzitzi and the Eyal of the Rebbe Rashab. And he came back and he gave the Rebbe a report. And the report was the Schwierigkeiten that the Yidden have there and the tzoras that they have, because we're still talking about 1965, which only a few Yidden left Russia after the big Tovshin Vov 1946, people who escaped, but later on only a few, Rebbe Mendel Futterfass in Tovshin Chov Dalet and Rebbe Chaim Tovshin Chov Beis and a few, but most of them were still there, and the problem, the tzoras was still there, and he gave the Rebbe a report. One of the things actually that they said that he told the Rebbe was that in Rostov, he saw that next to the Rebbe Rashab's kever, there's another kever. And the Rebbe had great agmas nefesh, trying to find out what happened there, who's buried next to the Rebbe Rashab. And later he found out that it wasn't really a person buried. They made it look like a kever for that reason, that no one should bury anybody there. And the Rebbe felt much better. One of the things he did, he brought some leaves from the trees around the kever of the Rebbe Rashab, and he put them into plastic, and he sold them in America when he came back in order to make some money for Besrivke. But he gave the Rebbe a report of all the Schwierigkeiten that he saw there. So Shabbos Pashas Kiseitze, Tovshin Chov Hei, he was there by the Fabrengen, and in the middle of the Fabrengen, he said L'chaim to the Rebbe, and he started crying. He was crying because he really felt his rakshas. He was so emotional about the things that he saw there. And you could see that his crying and his emotion caused the Rebbe to get very emotional, and the Rebbe started speaking, I think it was after the Maimer, started speaking about the Russische Yidden. It seemed like it wasn't, who knows, but it seems like it wasn't part of the plan of the Rebbe, what he was going to speak about. But when the Rebbe saw him, and the Rebbe saw how he was emotional, and he's sitting there pushed and crying, so the Rebbe started speaking about the Russische Yidden. He made it as a hemshech to what he said before, but he started speaking about the Russische Yidden, that they go on Mesiris Nefesh, and how hard it is there. And the Rebbe was crying. And the Rebbe said that there is somebody here who just came back from a visit in Russia and saw exactly what was going on there. And the Rebbe says that a Yid over there wants to go on Mesiris Nefesh. He can't even do that. For instance, he wants to pay a lot of money for a Nesrik, but he can't get a Nesrik. And the same with other Torah mitzvahs. The Rebbe said that the Friedrich Rebbe said that you could go on Mesiris Nefesh and jump off the roof, but you can't go on Mesiris Nefesh and jump onto the roof. Now, Taki, it says as for him that if you want to go on Mesiris Nefesh or something, you want to do a mitzvah and you can't, it's as if you did it, but sof kosof, you didn't do it. So why does it come to the Favos Kumtazei? He said they don't have no day and night, they have no time, no head, you should be able to sit and learn and daven. They can't do anything, they can't have kvi, sit on the Torah, all because of the Schwierigkeiten that they have. And why did the Eibishter do this? And he said, well, we have no answer, this is something that the Eibishter knows, and the Eibishter has a reason, but the time is enough and they should go out. And the Rebbe was mamish crying then, with Moye Sholish, he was crying by this Fabrengen because of what Reb Zalman Gurevitz had told the Rebbe and the way the Rebbe saw him. Another thing that he did was, he brought along with him the tefillin that was known that this is the Alter Rebbe's tefillin. But that I will leave for the next broadcast.